to this month's Theater Lovers Club. And this is quite exciting because one of the reasons Theater Lovers Club started back 5 years ago is that we were seeing the number and the quality of theater in Santa Fe explode, and theaters can't make it without audiences. And so we decided to form a group to help build audience and to help you and us as audience members get to know sort of behind the scenes, who the people are that are working this magic and what it's all about. And so this evening is especially exciting because we are welcoming yet another new theater to Santa Fe, and it's quite unique. Its name is Exodus, and you'll be meeting in a few minutes April Cleveland, who's the director. She's an alumna of our beloved St. John's right here. So, of course, that's the great book college. It's no wonder that we've got some other Johnnies in the room. Their work is based on classic tales, which they do rather edgy reproductions of. It's a full-time collective of actors. During COVID, a lot of theaters and movie gigs were being shut down. And April had this brilliant idea of just putting out emails to actors and theater professionals she knew or knew of around the country and saying, come to Santa Fe, let's create theater together. And so this is a full-time collective, although a lot of the artists and actors go out to work on Netflix and all kinds of other things and live theater all over the country, but this is their home base. And usually we have a director talk to us some about what you're going to see and then maybe give it a little example. But this group does everything slightly differently. And so we're going to start by seeing an example, I believe from their piece Bathsheba. And they perform in a variety of places here at the Acequia Madre House, which is their home base, at the railroad, the Sky Train, and in other locations. And so then we'll have a chance to hear more from April and to ask questions, so we jotted down all the juicy tidbits that you want to know more about. Thank you for being here.
You should see an eye mask under your seat or in your hand. And if you don't have one, please raise your hand. Please put your eye mask on now.
Ensemble, and we're so grateful that you're here today. Some of our other actors are opening a new show on Friday. They're not here, but I'd love if our team would just tell you what their name is and where they're from, because we've all converged on Santa Fe over the last couple of years, and then we'd love to tell you about ourselves and answer any questions you have about our work. Let's start with you.
Hey, my name is Patrick Agata. I'm from Topeka, Kansas.
Ooh. I'm April. I'm the director of the Exodus Ensemble, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. Thank you so much.
I'm Tiff. I'm from Puerto Rico.
Yeah. All right.
I'm Mason Isbell. I'm from Northwest Arkansas.
All right. Wow.
I'm Gracie Meyer. I'm from Chicago.
I'm Ryan. I'm from Wheaton, Illinois.
Wow.
And Mim, thank you for the wonderful introduction. Like she said, we're Exodus, and we came here, well, I went to St. John's and then left, went to grad school at DePaul University in Chicago, which is an amazing conservatory. Studied directing there, met the most extraordinary actors who went off after graduating and started kind of immediately working in TV and film and major theaters all over the world. And then when COVID happened, my partner, who I met at St. John's when we were in undergrad, he was hired here as a professor. I always wanted to come back, but it wasn't a city where I could work professionally. I had to be in cities like Chicago, New York, and London, but there was no industry anyway. So I came back here. I said, yeah, let's go. And when I was on my way, like Nim said, I thought, man, you know, the most extraordinary artists who I could never get into a room together are all out of jobs. And our whole reality has sort of shattered and fractured in ways that we never anticipated, which is something a lot of people, you probably experienced too. And so I sent this email to the best artists I knew and said, you know, why don't we converge in Santa Fe? And to my surprise, a lot of them did, and we moved into a house together in September of 2020, which was kind of the height of COVID.
Wow.
Started working together. We're a repertory company, which means that we create work together as a group and then add it to our rep. And since it's the same group, as we create work, we fold it into our portfolio. So this show, Bathsheba, we're running right now, but we're also running the show we created in COVID, which is called Ivanov. And we have a new show opening on Friday, an adaptation of Medea. And it takes us a very long time, to build things. We do it all together up on our feet. We don't really write a script down until we've finished the whole thing. But once we have it, we run it, and it becomes a part of our program. So we typically work, we perform 5 to 8 times a week. We're so lucky to be in this space. This is one of the places we perform. This is called the Asekia Madre House, if you haven't been here. And it also houses the Women's International Study Center, WISC. And I'm a WISC fellow, which is really cool. And it allows us, here you are too. Nice to meet you, fellow WISC fellow. So we perform Bathsheba and Ivanov in this space, which is an incredible space. It's such a gift to us. And we'd love for you to come back and actually see the show and our other shows. We have a Bathsheba this Thursday at 7. We would love to have you. You've gotten some spoilers, but there's more to learn. We also have a Bathsheba this Saturday at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. if you're into matinees. Cute little matinee. Yeah. So that's us. We'd love to have our group answer any questions you might have about how we work or anything. Yeah.
Now, when you say you get together and make a script, how much of what we saw tonight is scripted and how much is improvisation as you go?
That's a great question, and actually the answer depends on the project. So with Ivanov, our script looks a bit more like a roadmap. So each actor knows which, we call them sort of plot dominoes, have to fall in that scene in order for the narrative to make sense. So between partners, we just trust each other that we can say kind of whatever we want so long as those plot points are hit before the next scene continues. So with Ivanov, it's very improvisational, especially in terms of conversation. With Bathsheba, it's a bit more prescriptive just because we are world building and we all have to be on the same page about, you know, who is the prophet? Why do we want someone to get pregnant? Like all different sort of rules of the world that we have to be in agreement on. So yeah, we have smaller pockets of the show where I think we feel more encouraged to say different things or do different things, but yeah, always with our actors' safety and clarity of the show.
So where do you start? You're going to start a new project, and what do you start with?
Pitching. Yeah, I've actually never even been here for that process, but so jump in. But no, essentially we all pick works that we find interesting, and it's typically within the public domain because they're free to us. And the Bathsheba decision, I don't know how that came about, but basically everyone voted.
Yes.
Everyone pitched and gave a spiel, basically like a presentation of why we should do the show, and what's cool about it, and what's interesting about it. And Bathsheba was a long and interesting development process because it's like this long in the Bible story. So it was just a lot of, to go back to your question about script work and stuff, it was very, very we have characters and we know who they are and we can do research on who these people were in history, but that's it for Bathsheba specifically, and so we had to decide what the plot was going to be, and a lot of our creation comes from just throwing ingredients together and seeing what works for us. We kind of like to bring in elements of things that we love. So like for me, I'm going to try to put Martin Scorsese in everything I ever do. You're going to put Peter, Paul, and Mary in everything.
Big stories.
Yeah, something like that.
Big things.
So, if that answers that.
What are some of your influences as you've studied or influences? I'm thinking, some of mine were like the open theater, the movie theater, wow, and people like that were doing experimental work, and I wonder what some of your influences are.
Could you repeat that question?
Oh, I'm curious as to what some of their influences might be from past performance and groups that were doing. My reference is always the ones back in the 60s and 70s that influenced me, or Bilal and the open theater and movie theater, places like that. And I just wonder what your influences are.
Yeah, I think it's different. For me, it's Ivo Van Hove, the Wooster Group, Ann Bogart. But something interesting that we do as a group is, well, I think we're all very interested in cinema and television and thinking about elements, cinematic elements, and how to kind of inject those into the live experience. And something we do as a group when we first moved here was we did something called the Aesthetic Hall of Fame. AHOF. And what that meant was everybody got 3 hours and they could show the group the best art they thought existed, whether that was a movie, a series of poems and songs, a painting, whatever they wanted. No one could pass judgment. They showed it, and then we would look at it and we would identify the qualities in those works of art. And as a group we did that, and then we used a lot of butcher paper in the early days. We wrote down all of the qualities of the things that we all thought were the greatest things in the world, and we started to look for patterns, and we circled them. And that might have been like split screen, sexy moments, extreme spatial distance. But they were all qualities as opposed to judgments, in the sense that like we can't always disagree on what we believe in politically or in terms of religion, and it's hard to rally and make work of art around belief, but it is not hard to think about artistic qualities and to rally around those together as a group. So first we defined those things for ourselves, and then we started to build these pieces from scratch, always keeping an eye towards those aesthetic qualities that we identified together as a collective interest. So everybody's are different, everybody's influences. Like Gracie showed a fashion show.
Yeah.
A really amazing fashion show. And we've watched clips from movies, we've heard Beatles songs, and all of those influences somewhere exist in these pieces that we make.
So how does this all work financially?
Great, that's a great question. That's a great question. We are a full-time company. Our artists are all represented by amazing agents all over the country. They work a lot, very good. And we do this full-time and work completely on a donation model. And the reason we do that is because we want to bring in new audiences. So if you come to a show, typically, an Exodus show, you will have a bunch of 80-year-olds next to a bunch of 20-year-olds, next to some billionaires, next to some people on food stamps. We're the food stamps. And the only way we think we can sort of reactivate theater and bring in new audiences is to get people to the theater and to take away the financial barrier. And the truth is that what we do is actually extremely expensive. There's 11 of us who work full-time. Multiply 11 just by minimum wage, 40 hours a week. It's a lot of money. But what that does, I think, for us is it sort of takes away saying that the value is $30 or $100 or $300, and it puts it in people's hands according to their needs. So we rely completely on a donation model. We have to raise $400,000 this year on a donation model.
Wow.
And we will do that by opening up to people. Yeah. So if you'd like to support us, there are many ways you can do that.
How do you plan to use the 400,000?
Well, most of it's operation costs, so about 85% of our budget goes directly to paying the artists. To pay 11 people to work full-time for a year costs $300,000 for the year. And we've just now grown up to making minimum wage in Santa Fe, which is a huge achievement.
Wow.
We have a lot farther to go, but it's a huge achievement. And then beyond that, we pay for equipment. All of our shows actually have food and drink, have alcohol. And so if you come back to a show, we give you wine. If you come to Ivanov, you have these massive, gorgeous charcuterie trays that Gracie makes, equipment, supplies, helping subsidize the actor's home, those sorts of expenses.
Yeah, anything we want to try to create, we love to experiment, and with that comes literal equipment. So I think we sourced this projector from somewhere.
All these monitors are free from someone who knows us and like us.
We had to buy all the cables because we're like, so I'm like, I remember that cable. I was 5, and so it was really, but it really like, we built this together, this frame, and like all that, just like little amounts of money. We try to save
Yeah, the
as
work
much
comes from
money
our
as
means as
possible.
much as possible.
And then this isn't a computer that we even bought. Like this is a computer.
That's
This
my
is
old
a camera. Yeah, the computer is April's old one. The camera is our other ensemble members. He had it for years. So we really try to operate on a low expense and see what is possible with that. And it has, I don't know, I won't speak for you guys, but it's opened me up creatively in ways that I didn't understand, where like theater used to be about memorizing lines and performing a show, which is great, and I love that. But then I started to really understand like what creating art was down here a little bit, just because we were literally forced to, with how little money we have and what little resources we do have.
Yeah, we are the entire company, so you're looking at, the box office, the janitors, the graphic designers, the photographers, we all keep it in-house so that $300,000 can go just to us for that work.
Paying artists the living wage is a priority for me, and it's very difficult. There's many theaters in the city, but almost every theater, any given actor there is working 8 hours a day at Trader Joe's and then going to rehearse. And I really believe that to create extraordinary stuff, especially in our art form, means all of us being together all the time and making those things, and that costs money.
How are your actors and your ensemble committed to a length of time, to a production, to if somebody gets a call from the agent, can you rotate? How does that work? You answer.
Well, I came here because a couple of other actors who played this role got booked. So, I guess that's kind of how it works. We just get I got just brought in, just luckily because they went and got work. And it seems like from my, short time here, my impression is that they have the freedom to do so. And then, Garrett, who was subbing for and now just taking over this part, he came back for a week, did a little bit of Ivanov, and then is now going in and working on another show. And then I suppose we'll be back at another point soon to keep working with us. So they kind of, what Santa Fe does is it gives us a home base to be in, but we still have the freedom to go out and do other
Terrific. Wonderful.
Tiff was just in Chicago shooting an Apple TV show with Jennifer Connelly and some other hotties, and she's so she was
that sort of stuff, but then you're creating on top of that. So you're adding a lot of new creative input to it. So, does that allow you, or have you thought about copywriting that and like just have that new play move around, accessible to others?
Like having like the script of Bathsheba
Right.
and making it.
For other theater companies to be able to perform, which is very, I don't know if we're there yet.
Yeah, I do think our ecosystem here is pretty idiosyncratic in terms of how the actors treat the roles and the flexibility within the production. So in terms of like concretizing something into a script and selling it, I think that will probably be, depending on the project, if we like have something we're like, oh, this is great, what if we, you know, copywrote this and sold it to high schools? Like if we do something that's almost with that intention, I think that will work for us. But
Our next step is to take it to other cities, hopefully.
with us coming,
Bring it to the rest of the country and hopefully the world.
you know,
Well, that brings up another question. How long are you able to stay in this wonderful space?
I'm glad you asked.
No, it's an extraordinary space, and we have a beautiful partnership. Oh, I don't know what to say about this. We have a beautiful partnership with the executive director, Jordan Young, who's the most extraordinary woman, and we are in this home and its space as a community center is going through figuring out what that means with also being in a neighborhood. And so we're figuring out, along with the city and along with the neighbors, how to carry on making this a space that invites the community in for cultural experiences. We can talk more about that privately, yes.
Let's say 2 years from now, are you doing it kind of as you go, or do you have like one story that you really want to tell, that if you can get to tell that story, you know you've made where you want to be? Have you got an idea like that for the future, or are you just going along as it happens to happen?
Do you mean in terms of like what project we create?
I was thinking, you know, when we started the Shakespeare Theater, we had this dream of the production that in 5 years, we want to be able to tell that story. And I don't know if we'll ever get there, but we've always had one. I'm not sure if somebody as creative as you all needs one, but I was just curious.
Yeah, it comes to us, and like we said before, people pitch and gives pitches of shows that are very important to them or fascinating to them. I think I was listening to Julia Louis-Dreyfus talk about this actually, the actress from Seinfeld. She's like, you know, as an artist, there's always the next thing, and you just want to do the next thing. And I think for me, that's how it feels. Right, just like we're once we run this show consistently, and that's amazing, and it's amazing to be able to get paid to do that. It's actually kind of mind-blowing. Like, this would not happen in Chicago. And I wanted to happen in Chicago. But then when we start doing more, it's just a reignition of the reason you came here, honestly, because it puts me in that position of like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what to do. But I'm going to figure it out, and we're all going to figure it out together. And I mean, we're doing that right now. We're doing that with another show.
Yeah, I think a lot of our goals are geographic, I would say. So we work on whatever project's most exciting to us in the moment, but then we'll be like, oh, you know, in X amount of years, if we could tour this in Amsterdam, that would be great. If we could do this in a black box that seats 200, that would be great.
Cool.
So I think we have those sort of markers so that we can focus on what stories are we most excited about telling right now.
All right.
Well, I think it's very exciting that you're bringing young people in, both you as producing and an audience. I know when I came to your show, I was twice as old as anybody else there, and I loved it. And it's also wonderful to be paying artists because that's essential. I'm curious if you could tell us a little bit about some of your other like your affiliation with the SkyTrain, and, you know, you're doing so many different things to sort of pique our interest as to the other event type of things you're doing.
Yeah, we met the Sky Railway folks at an event that I was at with Gracie like a year ago. And Ryan, were you there?
No, I fell off the ladder, so I
Fell off the ladder.
Is that a finish?
And we got chatting with them before they opened and ended up creating a goofy musical sketch comedy show for them. And now we're in the development process for an original Exodus-style murder mystery that will be on the train starting in March.
Terrific. Do you rotate your productions as a repertory company, or do you do Bathsheba and then you are going to do Medea for a certain amount of time, and then you're going to bring back Ivanov, or once you get them all up and going?
Everything all at once, all the time. Yeah. So like this week, next week we open Medea, which ours is called Jason, which is the husband of Medea. It focuses on him. Well, it focuses on both of them, but we open that Friday, and then I think in a week we have Bathsheba, Ivanov, and Jason all in the same week, which is exciting to know.
Wow, so it's real repertory.
Yeah.
Wow, and you get your heads wrapped around that, and you don't forget where you are.
Ryan plays 4 roles in Ivanov, including Ivanov, yes. Gracie plays several. Everybody plays
Not in the same
roles.
day.
Yeah.
Different days, so people play different characters.
Yes. So because we create the roles, and everyone's a good actor, everybody has kind of ownership over every role, and so in any given play, somebody knows 3 different tracks.
Where do we find out where Medea is going to be performed?
Well, you will find out where it is when you sign up for a specific date, and then we will send you the information the day before, or the day of, which is just so elusive and exclusive. So we do that with this production as well. You'll receive an email that has all the location information, all of the contact warnings, your dress code. We try to send out some pretty hefty emails ahead of
I
time.
have to tell you, I've signed up a couple of times to your email list, and I've never gotten
You're not
any.
getting them? Check your spam. Let's chat after. Yeah.
All
Make
right.
sure you're.
I just want to make sure I can find you.
Oh yes. You can also go to our website, which is where we have a calendar up on our website. Or who has Instagram? Who has it?
Yeah.
And that's actually a goal that we've reached this week, will be to run all 3 of these shows at once.
Cool.
We've made this, we sat down like 6 months ago and talked about goals as a company, and we were like it would be cool if we were running Medea on the other side of town and Bathsheba was being run at the same time on the other side of town. And like that's gonna happen this week, which is amazing.
You.
So you are performing, this isn't the only performance space then? You are performing in other venues or locations?
Yes.
All this kind of community place or private home?
Private homes too, we've done that.
Trains. Yeah, we ran over 100 shows out of the homes where we lived as a collective. So when we made Ivanov, we actually invited audiences of only 6 at a time for a while into our home, and we played it there for over 60 audiences in our home before we moved homes, and then played it there. We played Bathsheba in our home, and then for many shows, and now we're here. Yeah, warehouses, trains, private homes. You can book a private show. This house, yeah. Arroyos.
Tell us
So I think I heard the word comedy. So it's not all immersive horror like we saw.
Everything's different, yeah. Nothing's for children. Everything's intense in different ways, though. I mean, Ivanov is Chekhov, but our immersive version. Chekhov's intense, the Bible's intense, Medea's intense. The murder mystery is intense, but fun.
Hopefully quite funny.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
This one doesn't do well with scary movies. So.
How this go for you? You'll have to come back and see that.
Our old train show was
thinking ahead to holiday visitors, how close to Christmas are you going to have performances?
Well, none of us are from here, so we are all going to go home to our various states around December 15th. But if they come for an early holiday visit, send them our way. Well, if you would like to come see all of Bathsheba on Thursday, please chat with us. We'll get you signed up VIP, or Saturday for the 2 p.m. matinee. A little daylight horror. Yeah, we're so grateful you're here.
Well, we're so grateful you're here. Thank you.
And just the coming attractions, in addition to, we generally meet the second Tuesday of each month from 6 to 7. December, there's going to be a change. That's what I'll make sure that you notice it. We're going to be meeting on the first Tuesday in December. That's December 6th. And that will be at the Playhouse, the Santa Fe Playhouse. So we're going from the newest theater group in town to the oldest theater group in town, celebrating its 100th year's anniversary this year. They're doing a special family-friendly show, The Frog and the Toad. So we'll be hearing about that next, the first Tuesday in December. We've added a new kind of event, Theater Lovers Steps Out, and it's times when theater companies invite us to come to one of their performances in a group. And sometimes they give us a discount, sometimes they have after show talkbacks, various things, and they're at random times depending on where our theater companies want us to come. And so Thursday, day after tomorrow, is TLC Steps Out at the New Mexico Actors Lab. And it's for the seafarer. And Leslie, is it still possible to sign up for Thursday?
Yes.
Leslie's our guru, our tech guru, so she has the answers for everything. So
And there is a talk back then after the show.
So we'll be going to the show. You do need to still buy your tickets, but they're $15 instead of the normal price. You buy your tickets online, you sign up, and we'll have a block of tickets together on the TLC page on Theater Lovers Club website. And then after the performance, there'll be a talk back and discussion just for Theater Lovers Club people. So many of you see you again on Thursday, and we look forward to seeing all the creative new energy that you're bringing to Santa Fe, the new productions you're bringing to us, and the variety you're providing for all of our lives.
And thank you so
Enjoy our
much.
town.
Yes, thank you.